present is the soil in which the future is rooted. And as William Gibson famously said, the future is already here. It's just not equally distributed. And you don't know about it. Did you miss the opportunity internet presented in 1990? As Mark Twain famously said, history does not repeat itself, but it famously rhymes itself. The future is here. We are seeing a whole new economical and technological shift. Features and tenets are being written by millions of people, and you are welcome to join us on the journey. The winds of change are blowing once again. Do you want to ride the change or be swept away by the change? The choice is yours. It's absolutely no news that Polygon has the best business development and growth team in the crypto space. Within a span of 12 months, they have partnered with top global brands such as Meta, Starbucks, Disney, Reddit, Adobe, NFL, Mercedes, DraftKings. The list keeps on increasing. Today on the show is Aishwarya Gupta, who is the DeFi Chief of Staff and lead senior fintech manager of Polygon Technology, and we welcome him on the show. Welcome, and thank you for being on the show, Aishwary. I mean, you have a background of being an accountant. How did this blockchain technology come about? Take us through your journey first, and how did you enter this space of a complete fintech from, and enter into a new technology, and you are an accountant yourself?
Absolutely. So I think in 2018, after I completed my chartered accountancy, I went ahead and I joined what everyone does, which is corporate. I worked with PwC, worked with American Express. But while working with American Express as a treasury manager, one of the things that we used to feel like our team used to settle all the treasury, move all the funds across the globe and everything. We used to settle somewhere around $3-4 billion a day. And one of the challenges that I used to feel, so let's say all the global markets have different timings at which they end, and liquidity as it is a very trapped liquidity is one of the very big problems in the world. As big as today is somewhere around $8 trillion that is trapped in liquidity because of this way in which the current network works. So because of that, I was just trying to look out at how we can go out and enhance that. How my team members who are out on a party do not have to carry a laptop because they have to settle a transaction. So that was something which I was trying to find. And while searching for new technologies, it was more like, okay, I stumbled upon blockchain and I stumbled upon XRP, Ripple. Now, American Express was one of the initial investors in XRP, and I just happened to just read about it from the news and everything. And then I just tried to find out how XRP could settle all those things, because the major thing behind XRP was to settle instantly and everything. So I just started exploring it. We used to go out online to take printouts and take home, study all of those things. Then I slowly learned there's a blockchain team within American Express which is working on that. So I started connecting with them, started working. So one of the solutions that got created was between American Express, US and UK customers to settle instantly using one of the products of XRP. And the bank was Santander. So that was my first interaction into blockchain, and that is where I saw the potential. There were other projects as well that were being done, but then COVID happened, and when COVID happened, all these innovations and everything took a back step because American Express lost 83% of its revenue. So that was a major blow that we had. So they laid off everyone in innovation and everything and said, come back to the core business, whoever was left. Now being there, I did not want to do anything, all of those things, because I'd seen how the technology has advanced and how the new things were coming up. So that's where I took a full leap. I completed my executive education from IIM Calcutta, and also from there I went into a full path of blockchain and cryptocurrencies. I worked with an Indian exchange, helped them with treasury management, getting returns out of so that they can give it to the customers. Worked with a bank in Switzerland, which was a crypto bank. I used to be a researcher, along with a team, used to manage somewhere around $100 million for clients. And that's when after that I went into Polygon. So that has been my journey. It was not like I bought bitcoins and I got rich, so I wanted to be into cryptocurrencies.
So all in all, I could say this is a love for technology, I would say.
Absolutely.
That got you into this.
I would completely agree on that. Until unless I'm passionate about something, working your whole day, that's not going to happen. So absolutely, that's correct.
So you did some education also on DeFi. So would you like to explain what exactly is DeFi for the viewers?
Absolutely. Like I'll not get into definitions, but I'll give you a very simple example. And this is something which is like last year when I was buying a property for me, and while I was buying a property for me, I wanted a loan, and now I wanted a loan, but I did not want to take the whole loan from the bank itself.
Right.
So what I did was I used a platform called Aave. Okay. So imagine I'll give you a comparison now. So State Bank of India today has somewhere around $450 million worth of deposits, right? And it employs somewhere around 2.5 lakh people in India.
Right.
Let's say 10% of the people are just in talking about borrowing, deposits, and lending and borrowing. So that means 25,000 people are managing a $450 million portfolio. Now, if I come to Aave on the other hand has less than 50 employees, and it manages something around $10 billion right now. Wow. So that's the difference. And this is just basically the finance. Now let's go into the numbers. If I go into the numbers, today if I want to take a loan maybe from any bank today, it usually takes somewhere around 10 to 12 days for a minimum, which is like you have everything completed and then they will process it. But right from the start, if you want to go through the process, it somewhere takes 3 to 4 weeks to get your loan processed. And then your interest rate is like almost fixed. It keeps on rising. You've seen in the past trends, like almost my bank loan has risen to like 2% more. While on the other hand, if I go to Aave and I just provide my collateral and I want to borrow it, I can do it in 2 seconds.
Right.
Which means if I have collateral, I'll go to the platform, put it as a collateral, borrow stable coins, bring it into an Indian exchange, from that Indian exchange, put it into the bank account and get the money. Now that's the difference between efficiency. 2 seconds a day, because a bank is involved still, a day versus 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Then the other thing is, on Aave, the rate of interest is not something which is fixed. It's basically dependent upon the demand and supply.
Right.
Okay. And so which means like if the demand for that particular stable coin in which I've taken the loan is not high, my interest rate will fall. So sometimes I've paid interest rate of 0.5% on my loan amount versus paying 8-9% on my bank account loan. So that's basically what is DeFi. So DeFi is something which is running on automation, and this automation is done through smart contracts. Now what a smart contract is just basically an if-else statement which automates everything in the lines of codes. Right. Now when it does that, what happens is this creates a lot of efficiency and it allows you to work 24/7. So Aave works 24/7. If it is a Sunday evening, you want a loan, go ahead and take it. So that's something which is there. And now so this is what DeFi is. DeFi is getting into a world where all those rules and regulations which were human made and which were like still inefficient. We have seen so many scams happen in the bank and everything like that. Here you're getting into a world of more efficiency, a way in which you can see how without human intervention you can achieve a lot of success.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, you started in India, you worked in India. How's the culture been in India to work in a startup like this? And especially coming from you, you're one of those people that, I was personally very interested getting onto the show because of two reasons. One is you have an entire background of being into, accountancy, which defines where all your finances go, and one in love with technology. So it's one of the rarest combinations that I think is present because usually what happens is we find people who are more technical, we find people who are more financial. Now here I have a combination where, you are both into that and are you the backbone behind getting Polygon on to where it is today? And how has it been working in the Indian crypto space? And what is it that you see that India needs to boom in terms of the crypto space that we are in today?
Firstly, the full success for Polygon goes to the founder.
Yeah.
The reason being is the way he envisions things, the way he enables us to get autonomy into decision making, and the way how quickly he moves.
Right.
So the way he is dedicated, even with a kid today, he's still like full time working, ensuring everything's in place and everything like that. So I think the success is based on our leader who's showing that in
See, I think the success is also to do a lot with the entire team, isn't it? I mean, if someone is a brain, someone is a backbone, someone is a hand, it's an entire
Agreed.
how a body structure works, right? Everyone has their own departments to do.
I mean, yeah, and I think there's no, like, the way in which within the organization also, the best part is the reason why we are able to go out and land so many, you can say, deals, and we're able to talk to everyone, is like people in the organization are passionate about it. Like, I work, Sandeep never tells me to do that, but I work 16, 17 hours a day.
Wow.
And nobody tells me to do that.
Right.
So if I look at my company, and if I just had to work in a company, I have unlimited leaves. I have no office hours. I can literally, I can just say, hey, I'm not coming tomorrow, and nobody will even come back and question me why. So in a place where you have been given so much openness, you can say, so much relaxations, the biggest reason why we still love to work and we still are doing that is because, like, we feel that kind of passion towards deriving this whole technology to the world. I mean, my entry into this world was not because of the money. It was because I saw the efficiency that things were happening. And something that we did, like in Singapore, like last week, I've been teaching in my DeFi course from almost 2.5 years, which is purpose-bound money. I call it smart money, which is like you tell what the money should be doing. So that's something like where I personally feel that, okay, this is something I used to teach and now I'm seeing that in practical. So for me, it's a very good thing. I feel like, okay, I was in the right direction even 2.5 years back. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, most of the people within the company would feel the same way. They feel that the company is theirs, and that there's a sense of ownership within the company, and that's why, like, we are able to do what we do today.
So isn't it outstanding, like what you visioned about 2 years back and how fast the technology moves, and now you're seeing that happening? So, I mean, I'm sure that gives you a kind of a factor that, yes, you're on the right path.
Absolutely.
And, what you were thinking was right, and what you're thinking ahead will also be right. So saying that, what is it that you're seeing it in the Indian crypto space? Like, you're the, I would say, the benchmark for the Indian crypto space. Like, Polygon has, and not just the Indian crypto space, I would say, it's a benchmark for the entire world. But saying that, it's kind of, India always had that kind of resistance in getting into that space, and Polygon did it. So how has friendly it's been working in the Indian crypto space, and what are your thoughts on it?
To be honest, like, the Indian space is still not that friendly, and the reason is, I'll not blame the Indian government for it. What happened is, like, when the whole crypto boom was happening, a lot of crypto exchanges were getting started in India. Right. And where the money goes, like, the crypto exchanges were raising left and right the money, and when they had that kind of money, the bodies that were made to root for to tell the government what these were. So there were 9 members in that body, right. And out of those 9 members, 8 members were cryptocurrency exchanges. Now, if 8 cryptocurrency exchanges are telling the government what the rules should be, it would anyway would be like the government would be only knowing about, okay, there's a buying and there's a selling that is happening.
Correct.
That's it.
Correct.
On the other hand, that's like if we see, like, a lot of things have happened apart from that also. The COVID certificates in Maharashtra being issued on Polygon. If you go to Orissa and Jharkhand, the tribal certificates being issued there. The driving licenses in, I think, Telangana, they are also being issued on, they are about to be issued on Polygon. So, I mean, even like last week, there was an IPS officer who launched a full website on FIR lodging on Polygon.
Wow.
So, that is something which, like, is not seen here.
Because I was also reading that Calcutta is about to, or they are thinking to launch the real estate on NFTs. So I don't know if it's on the Polygon network or not, but I'm just saying that, do you think that the Indian government missed out the underlying technology?
I'll say completely.
And they just saw the trade happening, but the entire, it's like saying that they just saw the email, but they didn't see the internet.
Correct.
So do you think that they missed out that part where this entire boom would have happened and can still happen?
I mean, absolutely. If you look at a report that was recently published by NASSCOM with Hashed, their venture capital, it mentions specifically that the Indian talent is growing at 120% CAGR, which is the fastest in the world in the crypto industry.
Wow.
Which means that we have talent. Now, there's no dearth of talent, there's no dearth of money. Like I keep on talking to a lot of VCs and they're always like, Aishwarya, let me know where you have to invest. So there's no dearth of capital, there's no dearth of talent. The only thing which is stopping a lot of ping and letting a lot of brain drench out. Like if I look today, I'm helping international governments to do a lot of things, but I'm not able to help my own government. Right. To do anything, which is like sad for me, because I am an Indian and I want my country as well to prosper.
Absolutely.
So that's something which is there. So a clear way in which that thing can be explained, so that these kinds of use cases which we are developing for the world develops for India, is something which is very important today.
But don't you think that also this entire technology is inevitable, that this has to come? It's just a matter of time, and if they take it, the sooner they take it, it's better in terms of for them and for developing the entire industry. I mean, we've given always, Indian have been known in history to give birth to engineers, to doctors, to all the professionals, you know. So I think this is also one place that I think India can really boom. Saying that, Dubai and Singapore have really taken over this space and they are doing really well, because I was talking to someone and they said, you know what, Gunpreet, it's not about just the regulations, it's about the comfort that Dubai gives us. It's about how they welcome us. And is something that, you know, they are saying that, you know, look, we are here for you. We're not here to disturb you. Tell us how we can work with you. So do you think that that entire thing is a communication that we lack here?
I mean, I echo that. To be honest, I just came from Singapore, and the Singapore government was very, very open towards a lot of things. They have been always like forthcoming to help us in developing relations, in exploring things, and that's why like the government initiatives, the last two government initiatives that were announced, Project Orchid, Project Guardian, both these projects were with the government itself.
Right.
So the government was a key player and an enabler in this. The first one was where the government was issuing purpose-bound vouchers. Imagine today we give billions and billions of dollars in the form of subsidy and a lot of things, but we never know where the money was used.
Absolutely.
Here what the government is trying to do is with Project Orchid, they're giving purpose bound vouchers, which means if I'm giving you $1,000 for buying groceries, you can only buy groceries. You cannot use it for alcohol. That's an example. Wow. So this is one thing. The second one, Project Guardian. Project Guardian is something where a bank, JP Morgan, which is the biggest bank in US, SBI Japan, which is again another bank, they went out on a public chain, which is Polygon, and on that chain they went out and they did a forex trade by forking Aave, the platform that I was talking to you about, and incorporating digital identification and like modifying some of the interest rates and everything like that there. And once they did that, and all those things happened in front of a government, the government was completely supportive about it, and it's the word of those people itself that they say that private, we have tested everything which is private chains, they don't work, and that's why we want to get into public chains. So coming out from those people's mouths, it means something.
So I mean, it's like something like it eradicates the entire corruption, isn't it? In a way that the spendings cannot be used anywhere, and it can only particularly be focused on whatever it's meant for.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what I think every country would be fighting for, isn't it?
Correct.
So that definitely also, so exactly what also is my point, that, you know, I think, this entire technology is inevitable to come. I mean, once they adopt, it's about you either be the first ones or the last ones. So I think here, if it's the last ones, you might miss out on a lot of segment, which is, the booming industry, which is, I think it. So according to you, you think that Web3 is one of the biggest industries going forward?
I mean, absolutely. So what happens is, like, whether Web3 will sustain or not, the answer is if the internet is on, Web3 is on. So you have to shut down the internet in order for you to go and shut down the Web3 world.
Right.
So that's something which is there. Then coming towards whether we should be leading it or we should be. So we are, as Indians, as people who are into this industry, we are leading it. We're still leading it. But as people, as a country, we are not.
Correct.
So that's the difference. Indians, they are still leading it. A lot of innovations. I know a lot of founders which are basically Indians itself, just that they're out of India and they have registered their companies elsewhere. There's not, but they are Indians.
Yeah. So, what is your take on the CBDC that's been recently launched by the government?
I mean, like I've not gone through the complete paper, but one thing that I've been seeing this from 2017 when they announced Lakshmi as CBDC to be coming out, and I have not seen anything tangible, to be honest, to be able to comment apart from just papers coming out. So I cannot say what they have in their plans and how it will come out to be. But in a general format, if I look at India, the digital penetration that India has is so good, it's so high that there's no need for a CBDC. Now, working for like corporates, where I've seen how if you are able to control the whole cycle of payments within one organization, the biggest challenge or the biggest thing that comes out is that you can understand the attributes of people, and once you understand the attributes of people, you can actually go out and push them to go out and do certain things. For example, let's say if you use a particular transaction on and on, if you're using your credit cards just for purchasing food,
correct,
2 days later, the whole week, you'll just go out and have voucher like offers for food.
Correct.
So think about it on a massive level at the government level. Now let's say if tomorrow I want to go out and I want to force my country in order to go out and spend more in order to show that India is growing, I can simply go out and put a negative interest rate in that CBDC account. And now the general people they will feel, oh, if I have the money in my bank account, it will go negative in interest rates. But if I spend it, at least I'm able to spend the money. So you, in a way, are trying to go out and you can change those thoughts in the person's mind, which according to me is not something which is good.
Right.
So that's something which like I personally feel, until unless I see what they're, maybe I might be wrong because I've yet not seen what the practical implementations are going to happen.
But what is your take in general about, with CBDC, do you think that the government is opening up to the regulations?
No, I think
because CZ just released a statement. I don't know if you read about the statement 2-3 days back, and CZ said that the 30% taxation will kill the Indian industry. That's what he said. And should you think as a whole are they thinking about? What is the concept? CBDC is you're going for the technology. But the point is, are you going for the technology or you're not going for the technology is what my question is really in a way.
So private blockchains, according to me, and this is something which I make fun of as well, is private blockchains is just a fancy name for ERPs.
Right.
In ERPs, you used to give rights within the organization, maybe to some people outside your organization.
Correct.
That's exactly what private blockchains are.
Right.
So they are not even. So if you implement those things, it's not you're encouraging technology. You're just giving it a fancy name. Oh, we are using blockchains.
Right.
And the biggest reason why a lot of experiments in India. India has been experimenting a lot on private blockchains. There was a bank chain that came out like 3 years back. Nobody knows about it anymore. 15 banks were partnering with it. There are a lot of such things. I can go on and on.
Yeah.
And the reason is basically that while all these CBDC and everything are important, as per government, like they are important to some particular places. Like if I talk about China, like China needs a CBDC because they want to control people. Right? China is not an open economy. It's not a democratic economy.
Correct.
So that for them, cool, they should do it. But for India, which is a democratic country, we shouldn't be even thinking about it because our digital penetration is already very high.
Absolutely.
So I have not seen any graph till date which can prove me that if I'll bring in a CBDC in India, it will give penetration to within that Indian economy.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen. So it depends case to case whether CBDC is good or bad. It will depend upon the scenario on which it is being built. For places where there is no digital infrastructure, a CBDC might work wonders, and so it would be case to case. Apart from that, while you're talking about CZ, so I remember that because I was standing in front when those things were being made. So yes, absolutely. That's killing the industry already. A lot of innovations and everything is just going out. A lot of companies are being still set up, but they are being set up elsewhere, and everything is happening outside India. So yeah, that's already clearing it.
Because what I personally feel is the digital penetration, in a way, has already happened for India. Exactly. Let me be very specific, right? So, it's not happened through the government, but through different players. It's already happened, and I think India has the highest digital penetration. Something like an Aadhaar card is
nothing but a digital kind of a, where entire India, I mean, look at the number of people that are already there in terms of digitalization. So if we talk about penetrating into digitalization, I don't think that's really relevant in those terms because it's already happened in a way.
Exactly.
It's about opening up to the regulations, what we feel that is acceptable to us, and how we can welcome, startups like, Polygon, which is no more a startup. When initially, I mean, if the government would have been supported, Polygon or Matic would have really been, I think they should have been the pioneers in India, and they not just want, like, I remember Binance starting out, and then they branched out and they started helping all the other projects to come on board, and it helps an entire boom in the entire industry. Now what has happened is they're trying to shift everything outside. So I mean, I don't know how the penetration would work, but it's just about the regulation. If that's what my view is, that the regulation that they are trying to get in should be something that should be done as soon as possible. And do you think that everyone has a clarity on the regulation that they've already got in?
I don't think so. Like every time what happens is, like, I've seen a lot of trends at the back. The moment there is a news that comes out, oh, India's penetration for cryptocurrency purchase and everything is increasing, the next day you see a notification coming out, we will impose this, we will impose that. So that's the funny story that I've been noticing, because I'm in the industry, so I read a lot of those things that happen here. I mean, I don't have an answer for that.
I want to ask, is this a myth or is it true that they say that the maximum of the money laundering, the maximum of the crime happens due to the cryptocurrencies or through cryptocurrencies? Is that a myth or is that something that is...
I just remember one line, it's in Hindi, like, I don't even know if it's correct, but they say it like 100 चूहे मार के बिल्ली हज को चली. So that's something which comes to my mind. Like if you look at, I'll just talk about Bitcoin here,
right?
Like, because that's the first number one that comes in. Like if you look at Bitcoin, 92% of the crimes that have happened and the payments have been done in Bitcoin, the people are behind bar.
Wow.
And that's not me saying it. That's Chain Analysis, which is an analytics firm which does all the analytics, is saying that. Which means all the money that is going out, even the biggest of the biggest that happened earlier, which was known as Silk Road in US, all the it was a marketplace where you could sell guns, drugs, and everything, and use Bitcoin as payments. The creators and everyone are behind bars. So that's something which is there. Blockchain as a technology brings out all those evidences to prove something. I'll give you another example. There was a FinCEN leak as well that happened, which brought in like so many names of so many banks and so many people. Has anything happened? The answer is no. On the other hand, anything and everything that is happening on blockchain, even today, anything that has happened, any transaction that has happened on chain, you can just go out and see it. Yeah. But that's not true for a lot of... So here with blockchain, it brings more efficiency. Nobody can actually go out and say that money laundering did not happen before Bitcoin came into the picture.
Absolutely.
Nobody can say today that money laundering is not happening.
Absolutely.
Apart from Bitcoin. But I can for sure say that I'm not even 5% of those people who are doing that are behind bars.
Wow.
When they're doing it in cash.
And that says a lot. I mean, so because money laundering has always been there. It's not just it started. It's not like it just started as soon as Bitcoin was born. So, I mean, it would be right to say that this is more like a myth and it's been negative news that has created this more than it being actually. So this is where I've been always also saying that, people miss out the technology behind it. They just go by the news, and I always believe in something known as a news diet. So like the food diet you follow, there should always be a news diet that you follow, because too much of news is also not, you get into a rabbit hole. And what has happened eventually is that I think all the news has always been negative, and nobody, so all the news is about volatility or the crime. So I think that's where it needs to move on and understand, and people need to move on and understand that this is a far more, the technology is coming. It's like saying that porn is being published on the internet. I mean, there's much more to the internet. So
Exactly.
you can't just have one thing and,
Correct.
So I totally agree with you there. So tell me, like you've been an early investor, you've been an early startup. Now, what are the top skill set that you think is good to scale up a startup as great or as good as Polygon?
I mean, the biggest reasons with Polygon has been like we have been evolving. We have been ever evolving. We came out with a plasma chain, which was a side chain. But once we saw the opportunity, so the moment we are seeing opportunities, we're evolving. The places where we feel we need improvements, we're doing that. So like the name change was not just a name change from Matic to Polygon.
Right.
It was like today we have a whole ecosystem and whatever is being required. So we are building the infrastructure so that others can build on top of it. We don't have a product per se which goes out and sells. Okay. No product is there which we can just go out and say that, oh, this is my product, you should use it. No, it's an infrastructure which is being created. And I mean the top skills, I would say, so now what I see is a lot of structure coming into the organization, which means that everyone knows really what they want to do.
Right.
And it's not like a brick wall. Okay, so I joined Polygon as someone who had to support the marketing, right? The official that was my official title, a guy who would help DeFi team to and be a bridge between the DeFi and the marketing team.
Right.
To tell them what DeFi does in simple words, because I had a teaching experience of DeFi for 2.5 years.
Right.
So, but the biggest thing is, as things evolved, as I started doing things, I wanted to do more. It was given to me. As I wanted to change things, like I wanted to do something different. There's nobody stopping you. They say, okay, if you want to do this, go ahead and do this. Let me know what is the help required, instead of saying, oh, you cannot do that. That's not your forte. So it's more like that's how I have evolved. I've like the past 1 year has evolved me much more than I would have evolved in a different company probably. And so that's there, and so that's something which is like a company skill which they are going. And the second thing, like as someone today, if you have to come to the company, what we are also seeing is we never saw degrees. Nobody sees degrees. We have people who are basically bachelors earning more than me. So that gives you an answer.
But you're one of the most highly qualified people.
I'll not say highly qualified, but yeah, as a qualification from IM as well as a CA,
Right.
And someone who comes in as a BCom and is being paid more, it speaks of that the skills are being paid for.
Absolutely.
And I completely agree for his like getting paid. I'm not saying that I should be paid more. I completely agree because of his skill sets, he should be paid more. So that's something which is there. So the talent is so it's more about how in depth you understand the technology, and then when you understand the technology, if you do that, if we feel this is something where we need more people, we are out to hire you. So it does not like literally a lot of people come in and say, oh, we have so many degrees, you should hire us.
Right.
That's the last thing we do.
Wow. So is that so what would your message be to the Indian startups or to the companies that are starting up in the crypto space? I mean, what would you advise them to really do? Because look, you've gone through a structure where you must have gone through the ups and downs, and you've reached a stage and you've buried all that below. What is that one piece of advice you would like to give them? I mean, anybody who's starting up in blockchain or crypto space.
I mean, Web3 is a space which talks about composability. What does that mean is partnerships, not building everything out yourself.
Right.
Like one of the biggest things that I've seen is if you feel that there is someone who is building something which can be utilized, go talk to them. Ask them, can we work together? Instead of just going out and building the whole thing for yourself. That's the first thing. First of all, it will take a lot of time. By the time you are ready,
Absolutely.
that trend might have changed.
You're
so
right.
That's the first thing. Second is talk to the community. A lot of people build in silos and they're like, okay, we'll take the funding, we'll work for a year and then we'll come out. Point is, by the time when you're coming out, you have not taken any community feedback, which means
Absolutely.
you don't know what the market is talking
Correct.
about, and you are in a imaginative place where probably what you're thinking is might not be something which is required. So the first is like you should think more of partnerships, because partnerships give you a lot of leverage. Second is talk to the community if you're building something. And third is look at the problem statement. Like a lot of people are building things which are not even required in the industry.
Correct.
And they're building it because they feel it's important. They don't even know the industry size. They don't even know whether this is relevant or not. And they're just building it. Correct. So these, if you're doing that, what will happen is no matter what your degrees are, no matter what your experiences are, it will not work. So I mean, these are the three things one should remember if you are into this industry, I would say.
Well, that's very interesting. So what is it that Polygon has a competitive edge over all the other layer 2 solution? And do you think that you're actually fighting or in competition with layer 1 Ethereum?
No. First of all, we always are someone who is helping Ethereum to scale.
Right.
The reason why Polygon came into the picture majorly was because at that period of time, there were alternate blockchains that were coming into the picture. And because of the high cost of doing transaction and slow speed of Ethereum, a lot of applications had started to migrate. And that's where Polygon came in as a plugin to come in and help everyone on the Ethereum community to stay there. So that's still our motto. We help Ethereum scale. And what has been our edge on this is basically two things. One is composability again. If you look at the DeFi of Polygon, what you'll see is, or any other things, a lot of things are composable, which means if there is a Uniswap already out there, people are building on top of Uniswap to bring more efficiency to Uniswap itself, right? Which means that even with that thing being said, a lot of things start to auto compile and auto accumulate.
Right.
Hence, you get a solution which might be the best out of the industry. And that is why this has been because I come from the DeFi department and the fintech department, so that's something which I have seen. Everyone can communicate. So second is, like, in this composability as Polygon, we also ensure that if we see opportunity, so it's not like the customer or the dApp who is building on Polygon will come and tell us, okay, we know I want to do this, and then we will help. We go out and we understand, okay, this strategy might be good for those 10 players. We'll automatically create the relations between them and let them build all together. So that's because that's the biggest reason of this. The second is like the obviously the efficiencies that we bring in. So one of the things that we've always seen is, like, a lot of blockchains are like, okay, we have built one solution. No matter what your business is, you have to if you want blockchains, you have to use this. We did not go with that theme. What we understood was every business might have a different business needs. So that's why we are building different sets of products which are out there. So no matter what your use case is, there's a product out there which exactly fits to your needs. Hence, a lot of collaborations that you see are able to be done, because now no matter what your business is, we have a solution which can be used for you to build on it.
So I have a very important question which has been there with everyone. How about Ethereum 2.0? Will that kill Polygon?
I think Ethereum 2.0 was something which is already out there.
Yeah.
Ethereum 2.0 was majorly a change in the consensus mechanism, which means that from proof of work, you're migrating to proof of stake. That's it. There's nothing else.
So scalability?
No. So there's no change in the scalability. There's no change in the transaction cost. There's no change in anything else, except from now, instead of Ethereum being called as a chain spreading pollution, we can say it's 99.9% less pollution.
It's carbon negative in a way.
Yeah, you can say it's not yet, but yeah, like impact is way less, 99%.
Yeah. So do you think that so Polygon, if you're bullish on Ethereum, you got to be bullish on Polygon. Now, Ethereum can sustain without Polygon. Do you think Polygon can sustain without Ethereum?
I mean, that's an interesting question. And one thing is, like, being a sidechain, we can plug into anything.
Right.
So if we want to do that, we can do that. So the answer is yes, we can. But we don't want to.
But you don't want to. That's an interesting answer to that. So you just want to work with Ethereum?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, the reason is because that's what we were built for.
Okay.
So yes, like even today, like a lot of people say that why don't you start connecting with other blockchains and start doing that? We don't want to do that.
Because you have a competitor here, which is Polkadot.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you compare yourself with that? Because they are working with so many other chains as well.
I mean, Polkadot is a completely different structure. Polkadot
Right.
is basically a layer 0.
Right.
So there is something called blockchain trilemma. Now, blockchain trilemma brings in 3 features. The first is the scalability, which is the speed of the transaction. The second is security, and the third is the cost of doing transactions.
Right.
Right. So when you look at Ethereum, Ethereum is decentralized, which is like you cannot
Correct.
go out and stop Ethereum. Second is Ethereum is highly secure because of its decentralization. But the third element is scalability, which it does not have because of. So this is something which Vitalik said, that this is a trilemma, that you cannot have decentralization, security,
Yeah.
and scalability all in one go. Now, for Ethereum, Polygon comes in for scalability and solves that trilemma. For Polkadot, what happens is Polkadot, the base layer is security. The other 2 things are brought in for the chains that are building on top of it, that are known as parachains, right?
Correct.
And with Polkadot, one of the biggest things, like I used to follow, because in my last role I used to follow all the chains. One of the biggest challenges with Polkadot had been para loans, which is like there could be only 100 chains, which means you're making kings out there, right? You are making people feel that okay, and there's a huge amount of money locked, so people will not scam and all those things, but you're making kings, which means after 100 chains, maybe until the time it scales more, all the other applications we try to build on Polkadot are useless now. So a lot of Polkadot chains, a lot of projects which are building on Polkadot, when they don't win a slot, they're often migrating to other chains in order to sustain, because they have raised funds, they have done a lot of things, so they want to sustain. A lot of them come to Polygon as well.
Wow. So now that you have, can we say that it's what Polygon is trying to do is Internet of Things on Ethereum?
Yes, you can imagine us as the AWS of
Correct.
the internet.
So is that what Polygon is exactly trying to do?
Yes.
So tell me that if Polygon is trying to do that, and you have somewhere around 37,000 plus dApps on Polygon, what is the level of security or scalability that you guys are ready with?
I mean, as per Alchemy, they recently said it's more than 53,000 applications.
Okay.
But let's say there are tens of thousands of applications which are running on it. And so basically, the way the chain works is basically for the validators to earn money, there has to be a transaction increase, which is something which is happening. If you look at the theoretical throughput that Polygon POS chain, which is the first chain, which is the most successful one, has attained is somewhere around 7,000 transactions per second. Now, when you say that 7,000,
200, yeah.
Yeah, 7,200, yeah. So when you look at MasterCard and Visa processing today, they process somewhere around 1,500 to 2,000 transactions per second. It's
Right.
not their throughput, it's something that they process today. And that is something which could be treated as a benchmark. So if you look at that benchmark, yeah, we are still at a very low level in the sense of like more transactions can be done on the chain, because currently we on our chain on a daily basis we have somewhere around 3 to 3.5 million transactions done. So it has still space for a lot, and then you have other solutions also coming up, so that will be able to help us for even more bandwidth to do all those things.
And security wise,
so security wise, absolutely. If you look at like the way Polygon was designed, so what happens is after all the processing happens, there's a batching that happens, and all that batch information is stored where it goes to Ethereum chain. So what happens is that is an additional layer of security that Polygon imbibes. So as long as Ethereum is surviving, the security of Polygon can still be there.
so in my opinion, on my knowledge, doesn't it work like if something happens to the Ethereum scale, it stays within the Ethereum scale, and something that happens with the Polygon scale stays within that?
So yeah, they both are different, but what we have done is as an additional step. So what we do is after certain checkpoints, we collate that data and we send a summary to the Ethereum chain. Okay. Which means if tomorrow something happens, God forbid, to the Polygon POS chain, we have a way to retrieve everything back and start over.
Wow, very interesting. So, because you are, I think one of those projects that I've seen are entering partnerships like none, and honestly, Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see any other chain running so aggressively in terms of partnerships. What is your...
I mean, so for a particular application to survive, one is there are two things that are required. One is efficiency, second is distribution. Right?
Correct.
So in one part of the team is ensuring that efficiency and the composability is achieved. The other part of the organization is ensuring that the distribution is achieved. So that's how we are working. The first, bring efficiency. The second is, so like one of the examples could be Robinhood. Like Robinhood is the biggest consumer app in US, right? It has somewhere around 22 million user base. So what we did with Robinhood was we created a non-custodial wallet, which means, and their waitlist is somewhere around right now 2.2 million users. So which means that now with Robinhood, what we have done is like all the people of Robinhood can come and get those transactions done on the POS chain. That's good. But what I want to highlight here is there will be a dApp store in the future, because they have that in their application, which I've seen, and which will enable dApp discovery. So let's assume, as per Alchemy, the 53,000 applications are there. What are the best ones? Because if you look at an Android phone or an iOS phone, they always recommend these are the top 10 applications.
Correct.
Now with these products out there, now the 2.2 million people know what are the top apps. So I don't have to answer them, hey, listen, this is the top app. Wow. Through the dApp discovery, they all automatically do it. And what we have done is, if you are a top performing app here, you suddenly got 2.2 million more people using you.
Wow. Very interesting. But saying that, I also want to bring out something. 2019, there was a time when Polygon crashed.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone started calling this a scam at that point of time. And you guys built it back to be in the top 20 project. How did this happen? You didn't do another Luna chain and start another thing. I mean, how did that really happen? And your commitment towards this?
I mean, if you look at Sandeep's Twitter as well, we've always been towards building the ecosystem. We've never seen the prices, to be honest. Price is an after effect for us.
Correct.
Instead of just like going and telling people, hey, you should, like, you will never see an employee of Polygon ever telling you should buy Matic tokens.
Right.
We don't want you to buy Matic tokens as much as we want you to go out and ensure that there's a new application that gets built by you.
So getting on to tokenomics, one thing I want to understand is, how will you reward the validators? You have about, I think, 20% of the tokens that are still to be given as rewards. Once they run out, how do you think that you will take care of the validators? Because according to Polygon, they are saying that transaction fee is what is going to take care of it. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's exactly what's going to happen. That's why the distribution is very important for us. We want to ensure that all the validators today, most of the validators of Polygon, they are still the initial validators. Like, nobody has left the ecosystem, I would say. And this is because of that, like, we also want to ensure that everyone who has been there right from the start is rewarded till the end.
Right.
So what happens is, like, that's our aim. We want to ensure that all these things that are coming out, they help you with the rewards. The transaction fees is big enough for every validator to be still running the node.
And the tokens would take another 3 to 4 years to run out before we get into the transaction fee being as...
I mean, it's somewhere around 2027.
Which is 3 to 4 years from now.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So, I mean, I understand that as a team builder, you would likely to shy away from the price prediction. I will not get there. But what are your thoughts on currently Polygon has a market cap of $8 billion? And how do you see this in next 12 months, 24 months, or next bull run?
I mean, I would say we are just working on Sandeep's vision, which is top 3.
Wow.
It's not a matter of whether it will happen, it's a matter of when it will happen. And that's what we have in our mind, even with, I think in 2-3 days also, because of a lot of announcements, a lot of that market values increased. But our vision has been majorly towards ensuring that what Sandeep wants, which is like being in the top 3.
Right.
So that's where we are working on.
And being in the top 3, so tell me about what about the other chains that we're talking about? Because I was seeing one of the Sandeep's interview in which he said after the Ethereum 2.0, a lot of these blockchains it will be difficult for them to survive.
I mean, see, if you look today's scenario, Ethereum has been the settlement layer.
Right.
And why a lot of organizations want to use Ethereum instead of some other chain is because of its longevity. If you remember 2019 crash, I was sitting behind a laptop trying to ensure my company's funds and everything was in place and everything. 2021, sorry. So everything was in place. We were not liquidated and the funds were safe for everyone and out there. Binance, Coinbase, all the biggest exchanges in the world, they all crashed. Nobody was able to process.
Yeah, everything
Ethereum
crashed.
was working flawlessly. I was sitting behind a laptop and I, on that particular day, settled more than $250 million on the decentralized platforms. And none of the platforms came out and said, hey, we have went down. And all of these platforms were on Ethereum. So this actually has given out a signal that Ethereum's applications, the older ones as well, like Uniswap, Aave and all, they are being stress tested. And for organizations as big as banks and everyone, if they want to go out and use that, they want to use those platforms which, being in public, have never gone down or have been hacked. So that's one of the biggest things why a lot of people choose that. Now, once those chosen, if they want to scale, their obvious thing becomes Polygon. Why? Because Polygon gives them all the efficiencies and the product suite that they require. That's why they don't even look at some other chains which maybe are L2 competitors.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, if you look at from the innovation point of view, a lot of chains are they're not even innovating. They're just giving out. So if you look at the whole DeFi summer which started in 2021, that happened because Polygon committed 1% of the supply as liquidity mining to Aave. And after that, every blockchain just copy pasted that. Yeah. So yeah, but the thing, if you look at a Masari report that recently got published, it tells you that even when we stopped giving rewards to people, or those rewards got diluted or reduced to a significant bit, people still stick around. That people have not left the ecosystem. Even when people started proclaiming that there's a bear market that has come in, our weekly average users were somewhere around 832,000 because I used to write a weekly newsletter. So every week I used to know what the user base is. Today we have 2.3 million active users every week.
Wow.
So bear market, this should have gone down, but the adoption is increasing even more. So that could be an indicator where we can say that yes, a lot of people are choosing the big brands, the distribution and everything is coming there. So yes, it would be for other chains, it's becoming difficult day by day to actually go out and do a lot of things.
And do you think Polygon, can we call it the king of side chains? And is it or the most popular one?
I mean, absolutely. You can say both of them.
So, and do you think that there's gonna be a competition to Ethereum as well someday?
I mean, a lot of blockchains have tried that, calling themselves Ethereum killer.
You're right.
But they have not been able to achieve it. So we are still waiting for that.
Yeah. And how far do you think that Ethereum is from these blockchains who've been saying that we're Ethereum killer?
I mean, today, if you look at it, there's no competition, to be honest, from Ethereum. The reason being, a lot of people because of the tech being there. I mean, the Moore's law says that every year that the capabilities of hackers increase and everything like that. You've not been able to hack it. Even for Bitcoin, the same story sticks. You're not able to hack it and everything like that, even within a public network. So that's something which is already established. The network is not going down. It's always up and everything like that. So for someone to come out and say, okay, we are better, they have to perform in all those. They literally have to solve the blockchain trilemma.
Right.
Which is almost impossible till date to solve. We are just trying to close in. But near perfection, that's the only thing that could go out and say, okay, let's leave Ethereum and go on some other thing. Which is not happening.
And why would you why do you think that there's a difference between the price of a Solana or ADA and the price of Matic?
I mean, price is basically more on user perception, I would say.
Right.
If you look at, and this is something, I don't know, I will be sued for this or not, but in my last organization, we were talking to Cardano's lead engineers, and at that point of time, so we already manage a fund, and we were just thinking about listing Cardano. And at that point of time, when they were bringing out smart contracts, we were talking to the lead developer, and his words were, and I quote, "We're just trying to go out and assemble a way in which the smart contracts can actually feature out there." The moment we got out of the call, we sold. I don't know about the company, but at least I sold all my holdings. Literally, I've never bought it back, and that sale was somewhere around $3, and I think Cardano's top point was $3.12.
Correct.
So yeah, I mean, if your lead tech is saying that out, I mean, I cannot believe it anymore. Yeah. And another thing is like what happens is it's more about user perception as well. If you look at it, like there are a lot of cryptocurrencies like Ripple, like Cardano, which basically though are at a higher place, but they don't have utility.
Because saying that something like because look, what I've always seen, a competition has always been between Solana and Matic in a way. Now Solana had dipped down from, talking about tokenomics, had dipped down from $250 to $27, whereas Matic till date stays strong. I mean, if you actually look at it in terms of the bear market we've seen, we've really not seen a kind of a bear market that people are used to in crypto, where they say you lose 90%, you lose 95%. I think Matic would be one of those coins which has actually held pretty strong. And my question to you would be that why do you think that it's valued at a price where Solana is valued so high up in the rank?
I mean, I'll just go into a little bit of technicals here. Yeah. If you look at the circulating supply in the market, what happens is, like, if there is lesser supply in the market, a small purchase and everything can increase the valuation or increase the price of a token, which is known as the depth. Okay, so if you look at that portion, a lot of supply of Matic is already in the market. So in order for Matic to dump, there has to be a large amount of depth that needs to be sold off.
Right.
While on the other hand, if you look at Solana, a lot of holding of Solana is not in the market. Now, when that is not in the market, what happens is, if you compare the purchase depth of Matic versus the purchase depth of Solana, what you would see is, like, you need a way more money to pump and dump Matic in a way than you want to do it with Solana.
Absolutely.
So that's something which is basically one of my theories. Probably that's what I feel is, like, it's very easy to increase the prices of those. Even if you look at Cardano, almost 75% of its token is staked, which means, like, the supply is not there in the market. If the supply is not there in the market, what will happen? It will not go up, it will not have like a negative cascading impact onto that sense. I like a lot of people, and this is something I also wanted to share. Like, before I joined Matic, I used to go on a TV show and we used to talk about stock like crypto prices as well. And my last talk was, and at that point of time, Solana was something which was around $220. And they just asked me for a recommendation of how Solana would perform. And I said maybe it goes up to 240 or something, then we'll see a correction. And after that, like, I joined Polygon, and we were not allowed to talk about prices, so I never talked. But at that interview, the person who was interviewing me, he said, why are you so bearish about Solana? The last person we interviewed, he said Solana will reach up to $20,000 per token.
Wow.
I'm like, I'm a finance guy and I believe in numbers. I don't believe in, like, people thinking crazy
things. Yeah.
I mean, another example is, like, if you look at Shiba Inu.
Yeah.
So everyone is like, they buy it because they feel if one token reaches to $1, we will become a millionaire. They don't realize that the total circulating supply of money in the market is somewhere around $82 trillion. And you'll have to dump 5 times this money into Shiba Inu to bring that token into $1.
Wow.
Nobody knows that. Nobody talks about that.
Wow. That's actually very interesting, because people miss out the real factor behind all these things, isn't it? And it's important to know how much is there in the supply and not really.
Correct.
So, what is your thought on the market structure? And like, we're in a bear market. I mean, what if you would call it a bear market, and when do you think that this bull market would come in?
I mean, we call it as a builder's market, to be honest,
Correct.
where a lot of building starts to happen. When the next bull market will come, I don't know. I don't have an answer to it. But with the pace at which the growth, adoption, and everything is happening, with a lot of other projects as well, like I particularly feel that there is no bear market, to be honest. And slowly and steadily, when this kind of adoption, I mean, yesterday I was just passing by MasterCard's booth at Singapore FinTech Festival, and they were actually going out and teaching people on Matic Mumbai how to buy an NFT on Matic Mumbai using MasterCard.
Wow.
That technology is like, they have still not rolled it out, but I was always like, what are you exactly trying to do? So that's the kind of adoption at the pace at which everything is happening. So I would say that probably this might be the last bear market one would ever see in their life.
And do you think that, I mean, there are no price predictions, but we've already bottomed?
I mean, if I look at last market and the last market cycle, the answer is no. Because bottom is exactly like where a lot of tokens go out of market, they shut down, and they lose 99%.
So this was my next question to you actually, which you just answered, because my next question was exactly, and I'll bring it because you already are on it, that there's so many cryptos. I would call this so much of junk in the market that needs to be flushed out for this market to structure it.
Correct. Exactly.
So,
and that's true. Like, I mean, last month only someone told me about that there are almost 10,000 projects that have gone out of work. And I expect a lot more to go out. Why? Because they don't have a structure. They don't. If this is something which does not happen, I would be worried. Like, then I would feel that, okay, this market is running on so much opium.
Correct.
That the day it will fall, lives will be lost.
Yeah, I so agree to this, because I don't know if it would be correct to compare this with the dot-com bubble, but somewhere I think it's also likely or relative. Nothing is exact, but because everything worked like dot-com, and here are so many coins who have no utility, who are just still working on hype, who are just trying to showcase that, you know what, we'll build this one day, but they've not even launched. And I think that has to flush out of the market to really get a reality check to the market. And that, I think, this cycle, I think why I think that this is different is because you started to see utilities now. Past two cycles, there was something building, there was something coming. Now you see it happening. Now how it's going to structure, I think now in this bear market, I personally feel that a lot of those coins would be left where the utility is actually, now you'll have the value of utility. Earlier it was a value of hype. Now people would realize that even for NFTs, and what is your take on NFTs, and how the NFTs are going to come, and what is this one topic I really want to talk to you about is the metaverse, which the entire world is going. You have projects like Illuvium. I mean, they had some $72 million sale of land on day one. I mean, in a bear market. What is your take on metaverse and your take on this?
I mean, personally, I feel metaverse is still far away.
Right.
Probably Mark Zuckerberg is facing the heat for that right now. Company losing $9 billion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, metaverse is something which will become a reality, not right now, but in due course. Reason being, we are doing with the Bangalore airport, there's a metaverse that is getting created for Bangalore airport as well. But right now, metaverse is more associated towards the hype than actually utility. That being said, there are some projects which are actually building for the utility. But for people to adopt that and live into a world, like, can you imagine that you spend your remaining life, or I spend my remaining life sitting in this room and being in the metaverse? I cannot.
Yeah.
So people who can think about it and who can use that, probably that would be the adoption. But right now, whether metaverse is there but the true sense of metaverse is still not there. The true sense of adoption, people using it. I mean, again, I was looking at one of the booths itself, and people were being given those apparatus, whatever it's called, to wear for metaverses, and they were hesitant.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into this, please. So out of a crowd of 40 people, that person just asked, can 2 people come in and wear that? Nobody was going out.
Yeah.
And so that's something which is there. Like a lot of people still need to grasp to that idea, okay, there's something called metaverse. So it's far away. While on NFTs, I would say there's a lot of utility which people do not understand. A lot of people today say, oh, those monkeys are being sold for 100 ETH. What they don't understand is the rationale behind it, which is like a lot of royalties are getting created, a lot of brand association is getting created.
Right.
So that is nobody. So NFT use cases, and NFT is the best way to bring people into Web3. They don't even understand. The Reddit example is one of that.
Right.
3 million people subtly getting into Web3, nobody even realizing it until unless they, and think about it, like suddenly on my Reddit account I have, let's say, 5 NFTs, and I see on the OpenSea that those NFTs are being sold for $20, $100, $1,000, $2,000. I will, if you are seeing your NFTs being sold for $2,000, will you not get into Web3?
Absolutely. I totally agree there.
So that's how subtly those things are happening, and NFT is one of those things. And use real life utility based NFTs is even better. So I mean, there are these NFT, like the purpose bound money was kind of an NFT which was given out to you by the government and the people who were associated with it to actually go out and redeem things. So yes, NFTs are going to be the way in which like the Web3 starts getting even wider adoption.
And I heard lately that Instagram is also coming out with NFTs. So all of these things coming out will have an effect on the kind of adoption on NFTs. So, talking about NFTs, metaverse, so you think that metaverse is still far-fetched?
Correct.
But a lot of things are still building on metaverse. And are you also Matic or Polygon as a project also is also building up on metaverse?
There are 63 projects which are building their metaverses on Polygon right now.
Right.
Which are the significant ones that we know of. Us building on metaverse, no. We are an infrastructure, so
Correct.
Us building on metaverse is not a question.
Right. So talking about the technology, we have few projects. The startups that I know that you're advising on personally. So what is your take on something like blocktickets.io? Because I know for a fact that airline industry, I was reading somewhere by 2030 will all be on blockchain. So what is your view on the ticketing industry, or the entertainment industry in general, which is, I think, huge?
So if you look at it from various angles, the answer is there is a huge utility. A very simple example to explain to anyone would be like, think about there's an India-Pakistan match and I get a ticket out, 4 tickets of it, and I want to sell them.
Correct.
So there are 2 things that I want to highlight here. First is, internet creates copies of data. It does not gives you the ownership of it, which means Correct. If today on the Facebook I want to say, hey, do you want India-Pakistan match tickets? I can give it to you, and 100 people come to me and want to buy it, I can sell it to 100 people. They will realize later that only one can enter. So that's one problem. Second is there's no secondary market, right? So even if I'm a genuine person and I want to sell those 4 tickets, there's no marketplace. I have to go to social media, call my friends, put it as my WhatsApp status, like if someone wants that, right? So that kind of a secondary market is not there. So if these 2 things are something which are very important. Like today, if let's say you want to go out and sell your tickets and there is a secondary market available there, there's nothing called black marketing anymore. Right, so anyone can see the people would not be charged way more because there would be other people who would be selling at par or some like 5-10% benefit. Another is like a lot of use cases and utility gets developed in those kinds of things. So yes, these kinds like block tickets is also working on the same lines. So definitely these things are having a very good value in the market.
So, we're almost at the end of the show. So there's one question that always is been with me is that how do you think the mood of investors is when the Bitcoin price goes down and when it goes up? Do you think that really matters in?
Till date, it still does to a lot of extent.
And that's like the benchmark that people do look into.
It's like a macro factor that people look at. when prices crash, like every day you will see a news Bitcoin is above 20,000, it is below 20,000. So yes, but it's more towards like the use cases also. Like in the last 6 months, I've seen a lot of projects still getting funded, but just that it's not a paper idea anymore. They have a product or an MVP or user base. So yes, I mean, otherwise, like in the top bull market, you have an idea, I'll give you money. It was that. So yes,
yeah, correct.
There were a lot of projects that got funded here, and then those projects just enjoying the money for enjoying their lives, and that's
absolutely
happened. So yes, it does happen sometimes.
No, but thank you for your valuable time, and thank you for coming on to the show. It's been really valuable, and also it's been really enlightening to know so much about the crypto space that's been happening. And I wish you all the best, and I wish Polygon all the best. And I mean, we hope as an Indian that this becomes not just top 3, I would say it becomes top 1. So I would really wish for the success of Polygon, and thank you for taking out time and coming and talking to us.
Thank you so much for hosting me here.
No, thank you, Aishwary.